Imagine this, a billionaire CEO, admired by millions, but trapped in a wheelchair, staring out the glass window of her 72nd floor office. The city bowed to her power, but when the doors closed and the world wasn't watching, she whispered the truth no one knew. She would trade every dollar, every skyscraper, every deal, just to stand and walk again. And that's where our story begins. Before we dive in, if you believe that stories of love, hope, and resilience can heal, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss a story that might touch your heart the way this one will. Sophia Khan was one of the youngest and wealthiest CEOs in the world. At just 32, she had turned her late father's struggling company into a global empire. The tabloids called her the Iron Queen because of her ruthless business moves and the titanium wheelchair she never left. A car accident 5 years ago had shattered her spine and, along with it, her dreams of dancing, hiking, even just walking across the beach barefoot. The world saw her as untouchable, powerful, unstoppable, but inside, loneliness gnawed at her. Board meetings ended. Deals were signed. Nights stretched long and empty in her penthouse, where she often cried silently, wishing life had turned out differently. One morning, her car broke down in a crowded street market on the city's outskirts. Furious, she ordered her driver to fix it quickly, but her eyes wandered. There, among the shouting vendors and chaos, was a small stall, wooden, fragile, nearly collapsing under the weight of egg crates. Behind it stood a man with weather-beaten skin, dressed plainly, his hands rough from labor. But what caught Sophia's attention wasn't his poverty, it was his eyes. Deep, calm, carrying the weight of someone who had seen war and pain, yet still chose kindness. He noticed her staring. With a warm smile, he approached her car and said, "Ma'am, you look like you haven't eaten breakfast. Here, on the house." And he gently placed a carton of eggs in her lap. Sophia blinked in surprise. No one gave her anything without expecting something in return. She was used to fake smiles, handshakes hiding daggers, but this man? He asked for nothing. His name was Daniel. A single father, a war veteran, who had lost his wife to illness years ago. He raised his daughter, Emily, by selling eggs every morning and working night shifts as a janitor. Life hadn't been kind, but he carried his burdens with quiet dignity. Sophia found herself drawn to him, returning again and again under the excuse of checking the car route. At first, she bought eggs. Then she stayed longer, asking about his past. Slowly, she discovered pieces of his soul. How he played guitar for his daughter every night, how he once saved his fellow soldiers in battle, how he believed scars were not curses but reminders that we survived. One rainy evening, as she watched him cover his stall with torn plastic sheets to shield the eggs, Sophia whispered, "Why are you always so strong? Don't you ever feel like life's too unfair?" Daniel looked at her wheelchair, then back into her eyes, and said softly, "Fairness isn't promised to any of us. But healing isn't only about the body, it's about the heart. The moment you choose to believe your life still has meaning, you start walking again, even if your legs don't." His words cut through years of bitterness she had buried inside. That night, for the first time in years, Sophia didn't cry herself to sleep. Weeks passed, and their bond deepened. Emily, Daniel's little girl, adored Sophia, often climbing into her lap and saying, "Auntie Sophia, when you get better, can you run with me in the park?" The innocence in her voice was like medicine to Sophia's soul. But it also broke her, because she didn't believe better was possible. Then came the day everything changed. Daniel introduced her to a fellow veteran, now a doctor, who specialized in a revolutionary treatment. "It's risky," Daniel admitted. "And it won't be easy. But I've seen miracles. And I think you deserve one." Sophia hesitated. She had been told countless times by the best doctors money could buy that she'd never walk again. But something in Daniel's unwavering faith lit a spark she thought had died. For the first time in years, she dared to hope. The treatment was brutal. Pain like fire seared through her nerves. Days blurred into nights as she screamed, cried, and nearly gave up. But every time she wanted to quit, Daniel was there, holding her hand, whispering, "Don't fight alone. I'm right here." And Emily would bring her little drawings that said, "Auntie Sophia is a hero." Months passed. One morning, as sunlight poured into the rehab room, Sophia gritted her teeth and stood. Her legs shook violently. Tears streamed down her face. But step by trembling step, she walked. First to the mirror, then straight into Daniel's waiting arms. The billionaire CEO who once ruled from a wheelchair was now standing, not because of money or power,